Okay. I did for the update. All right. It was okay that she read it. She didn't seem too disturbed. Like she said, she had to read chapter 1 twice to get it.
And I was like, I was like, you understood. I already knew she did.
Kind of freaked me out a little bit. Okay. Maybe they didn't get all the nuances, could be. But if they kept reading it, they had to understand it a little bit.
I guess so. I mean, if they didn't understand it all, they would have thought it kind of boring, But that's my. Can I record a little bit of it?
Yeah, but don't bump me right now.
Do you have a good shot for it? Yeah, you do. Oh, she's on the drums. Okay. Can I do it? Really well.
Good morning. I'm sorry. Good evening. Good evening to all of you, and thank you for coming, and welcome to our Highland Park parents and students as well, to our concert here at Bowers School, our wonderful band under the direction of Mrs. Zanetti. I think you're in for a real treat, and now I'll turn it over to Mrs. Zanetti. Congratulations. This is our winter program. We are going to be playing 3 pieces with the larger ensemble, and then we are going to hear a lot of small 2, 3, or 4 people ensemble pieces. And the reason I do this is that these smaller groups helps foster independence and helps the children grow as musicians. So without further ado, we are going to begin this program with Firestorm. Our next piece has an Asian flair to it. It's based on an Asian scale, and it ends as percussive instruments. So at various times during this piece, you will hear the band actually clapping, and that is part of the piece. I want to also warn you that in the middle of the piece, I'm going to hold up my baton, I'm going to stop the band, and then we're going to continue. So don't be tricked. I always tell my students that when the baton is up, the song is still going to continue. When the baton is down, then you know we're finished. So be aware that I will stop in the middle, and then we're going to continue on with the piece. So here is the Golden Dragon Overture.
Spring from the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons was composed in 1725 by Antonio Vivaldi. It is a collection of four short programmatic concertos, each named for one of the four seasons of the year: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. This piece is from the light, fast-paced first movement of the spring concerto. Listen for the sounds of joyous festivities and dancing to celebrate the coming of spring.
Katie and Kat. A little percussion up here, so. We are now going to hear a saxophone trio by a very famous composer, J.S. Bach, who wrote in the 1600s. And Bach wrote these pieces to actually teach his children how to play music. So, sorry, he wrote lots of music, and he had many children too. This is the piece that he used to have people rest in between dancing. So after you danced a while and you needed a little breather, they would play a musette for you to sit down and relax for a few minutes. So here is a musette by J.S. Bach. These three young ladies are going to play a piece, Calypso Morning, and each of them is going to tell you something about the piece.
This section uses the musical elements of Latin America, a region of the world that includes South and Central America, Mexico, and the West Indies. African, European, and Native American traditions all influence the lively rhythms of Latin American music. Calypso, a popular music style of the West Indies, evolved from rhythms brought to the islands by African slaves who worked the sugar plantations.
And now we're going to hear a clarinet trio that's called Calypso Morning.
Minuets were very popular and elegant compositions written in triple meter. This Bach minuet is from the collection of easy piano pieces named for Bach's wife, who was also a musician. Bach wrote the pieces for his wife, Anna, to help teach the many Bach children to play piano.
Where is she? Hey, there she is. I got her. Oh no, where'd she go? Oh, I already did. Claire.
We're going to conclude this evening's performance with a piece by the large ensemble, a piece called Marches Maximus. And I think that the composer was just doing a little play on words. It was like a Latin version of the marches. So again, we feature our percussion section and actually everybody in this group. So it's a very wonderful and demanding piece. Sit back and relax and enjoy. We'd like to thank you for joining us this evening, and we will be playing next week at Highland Park School on Tuesday for the Highland Park students, and on Wednesday for the Bowers students, each individual band at their own schools, during the daytime, not at night, just for the student body. And if you wouldn't mind trying to remind your son or daughter to try to wear black and white on those days so that the band can be distinguished from the rest of the student population, that would be terrific. Also, I'd like to extend my gratitude to you for bringing these students to rehearsals. It's awfully early in the morning coming here or at Highland Park, and I appreciate your support. And any kind of encouragement you can give to these young musicians, it really helps so much to practice and to have other people listen to them play. I think they've done a marvelous job, especially considering the fact that we've hardly seen each other since September. So I really appreciate the job they've done. We will be performing again in May, and I haven't set the date yet, but when I do, you'll be the first to know. I'd like to ask, because this stage is used as a classroom during the day, we actually have to clear it off. So I'm going to ask everybody on stage just to bring their stand and the percussion to move their equipment off the stage. So before we leave today, we're just going to clear things out a little bit. And I don't know where Mrs. Ruggiero is, but maybe she can turn on the lights eventually.